Hi, I'm Bob Simpson, MLA for Cariboo North with my Shaw update. Well, the by-election has been called. Our Premier is going to run in a by-election in Vancouver Point Grey on May the 11th. That will be during the sitting of the House because the House has also been recalled. That's the Legislative House has been recalled to sit between April 27th and potentially up to June the 2nd. So we'll have to see how that goes. It doesn't necessarily mean there won't be a spring general election in British Columbia because the Premier has the right to dissolve the legislature at any time, of course with the Lieutenant Governor's permission, and may do so if it looks like the by-election isn't going to work out in her favor. It would be a very interesting situation for British Columbia to have an unelected premier who did not win in a by-election. I'm not quite sure how we would figure out all of those pieces, so I will keep you informed. I will be returning to Victoria April 27th after the Easter long weekend. We're sitting through June 2nd. There's going to be some dialogue and negotiation between the opposition parties, myself and Vicky Huntington, to try to fast-track the approval of the budget. We normally only have budget discussions in a committee room, and then legislation and some budget estimates in the main chamber of the Legislative Assembly. We're hearing that they're going to ask for 3 parallel processes. Now, I get that we need to have a budget. I do want us to have a fully costed, debated, and approved budget so all the ministries can get operating again. But as an individual MLA, regardless of whether you're from a political party or are sitting as an independent, it's very difficult to get constituency concerns heard if 3 different ministries are being debated at the same time. If infrastructure and transportation is up at the same time as health, at the same time as education, that makes it difficult for individual MLAs to get into those estimates and ask questions that are important to their constituents. So I'll be watching very carefully to make sure that we're not fast-tracking the budget, but undermining the scrutiny that government must go through in order to get approval for its finances for the next fiscal year. So as I get down to Victoria, my orientation will be there, but in the meantime, I've been spending quite a bit of time in the riding. I was in Williams Lake this week. I toured the Williams Lake Seniors Village, the Retirement Concepts Village there, had conversations with Mayor Kerry Cook, and there's an issue that's percolating there about seniors' care and affordable housing. So I'll be trying to understand that better, trying to understand what the issues are, and to continue to work on that. And that work is in parallel to work I'm doing on affordable housing in the Quesnel area. We met with the Affordable Housing Committee. It's a function of the community homeless shelter, and we're trying to figure out how we get more affordable housing units in the Quesnel area. Supported units for people who need assistance, and then pre-market units for people who are ready to come back into the marketplace and rent from the various apartments and the rental units that are in Quesnel. We're waiting for the budget in order for us to find out what the programs are, but I think we're getting the plans in place, and we know what we need to do in order to get, hopefully, some affordable housing units in this region. The other thing that has come out in the last little while is the HST referendum. Everybody knows it's going to be held by mail-in ballot, but now we have information about how the referendum is going to be held with respect to the information given to all of the participants. I have some concerns because the government is going to provide $500,000 for yes and no campaigns. That's fair. It's a significant amount of money, and it is fair we have both campaigns. But it appears the government's also going to run a parallel campaign, which they call Talking Taxes, that they are not able to tell us how much they're going to fund. And in all of the language that they're using, is to try and convince people that HST is good and simply ask people how they would improve the tax. So there's some serious questions about the government being a major proponent for the yes side while they fund yes and no out of a separate fund. And then all of this is happening without the report from the independent panel that has supposedly looked at the plus and minus of HST and supposed to be putting forward some recommendations to British Columbians in advance of the referendum. We won't see that report until after the federal election, while the government's already going out trying to convince people that HST is good and just simply needs to be adjusted. So it's a bit of a mess. I hope that I will understand it better in the coming weeks, and I will give you all the information you need. As I've always said, my office's responsibility is to give you good information so that when you get that mail-in ballot, you're able to make an informed decision. So if you have any questions, please get in touch with my office. Be patient with us. It's going to take us a while to get some of the information together to get it to you. And then finally, one of the major issues that we've been working on over the last couple of days in the Quesnel region is the Quesnel multi-center proposal. Quite frankly, the local government, myself, we've run out of options in terms of the quiet lobby we've been doing with the two levels of government, the federal and provincial governments. We've run up against a brick wall there, and I think as a community and community members, if you want to see that multi-center, if you want to see the millionaires kept in Quesnel, then please get in touch with my office, with local government, and we need to mount a community response to this. I'm in conversation with city councillors, with the mayor, talking to my own staff, talking to the millionaires owners, talking to some of the business people, and I think what we need to do is somehow figure out how to send a message to Victoria and to Ottawa that we want our multi-center and we want that money committed sooner rather than later. Over the course of the weekend and through next week, I'll continue to be in the riding. I've got a lot of events this weekend. It's Vaisakhi at the temple. That's their annual festival. I'm looking forward to attending that. My wife teaches a lot of the children that go through the temple, and so it's always a fun time for us to go there. I'll be speaking to the Quesnel Cattlemen's Association, involved in the Bowl for Kids for Big Brothers Big Sisters, attending a luau for the self-advocates. They committing to get me in a grass skirt and get me to dance. And then I'll be attending the Japan fundraiser that the city is putting on to get some money over to Shirawi to send to Sendai. So lots of activities. I'm having lots of fun getting around, meeting people. I'm really enjoying the time I'm getting to spend in the riding. But as always, my main focus now will be getting ready to get down to Victoria to be your independent voice in the legislature.